So InnovHeart is an Italian-based company focused on the next frontier in structural heart interventions. Specifically, we're focused on mitral regurgitation, which is a very well-established, huge market opportunity, millions of patients in need. So that's our focus today. We have developed a proprietary, incredibly unique valve that we're proud of. What's unique about it is that we're the only company that has an annuloplasty ring mechanically interlocked to the central valve. And I'll show you later why that gives some very, very important key advantages. We're a relatively small startup, about 30 employees, but we have a global reach. We are headquartered outside of Milan in Italy. And at that center, we focus on the valve development. We have a team in Boston, which is where I live, focused on the delivery system catheter development. And then we also license our technology to Grand Pharmaceuticals for Greater China. And we have teams there that we work with very closely. So large market opportunity. We anticipate that similar to aortic valve, we're going to see a flip as products get approved more toward the catheter-based, minimally invasive approach and away from surgery. But the great thing about the space is that with a heart team, cardiac surgeons, interventional cardiologists, echocardiographers are all involved to make this successful. So it's a win-win-win. We've raised about $60 million in equity through our A, B, and C round. We're currently seeking another $17 million to fuel our manufacturing scale-up, our move of early feasibility from Europe into the US, and then to do the work to prepare to file our pivotal IDE. So as I said, significant issue with mitral regurgitation. It's the most common heart disease in the US, second most common in Europe. Certainly becomes more of an issue as we age. More than 13% of all people over the age of 75 worldwide will have some form of mitral regurgitation. When it becomes severe, either through diseased valve or enlarged heart, about 50% of those patients can be dead within 5 years. So there's a huge opportunity to improve quality of life and overall health, especially as we know we're all aging and living longer. So as I said, significant double-digit growth anticipated, huge market in the future. No device currently approved for catheter-based delivery, but several companies getting into pivotal studies, and we plan on being there ourselves in the 2027 timeframe. So there are two approaches for this procedure. One can go in transapically through the ribs or transeptally through the groin. The transapical procedure needs to be performed by cardiac surgeons. And we did 5 cases with our valve with cardiac surgeons. Those patients are out to 2 years now and doing very well. But we know in cardiovascular medicine that typically getting technology into the hands of interventional cardiologists is the way to really develop a market. So with the catheter skills that they have, the ability to do this procedure through the groin is very attractive. It's great for the patient. It's less risk associated with comorbidities, infections, faster time out of the hospital. And we already know that it's possible. We're doing it, and we know now that for aortic valve replacement, the mix of procedures has already shifted toward the catheter-based and away from open heart surgery. So this is our technology. We have, I mentioned the annuloplasty ring. We put in 2 halves of a ring. We have technology to do that. We see some very significant advantages. We're able to navigate through the mitral groove, behind the anatomy, behind the chordae, behind the native leaflets, and ultimately get a very, very secure seal at the mitral plane. Those 2 halves of a ring are made out of nickel titanium with a polyester fabric around them. The central valve is a biologic valve. It has a porcine skirt and bovine leaflets on a nitinol framework. It's a very short height valve, only 13 millimeters tall into the left ventricle, which is significantly important because you don't want to encroach on the neighboring aortic valve and create outflow tract obstructions. So we're able to avoid that. We have 2 catheter-based delivery systems. In order to create 2 loops and deliver the annular segments, we have something we call the guide wire delivery system. That's a 26 French profile device. And then to deliver the valve, we have a 29 French crossing profile device. We are able to use a wire-based system for delivery and assembly of our valve. And so the annular segments are delivered on wires. Those wires are backloaded through the valve. And so once you introduce the device, you purely pull tension on the wires and the rings snap into place. So a very elegant solution to delivering an interconnected valve. We've been moving at pace. We had our first transapical implant in a sheep model in 2018. We had our first in-human transapical, one of the five that I mentioned, in 2020. And last year we began our transeptal studies, and we're building our enrollment there as we move into this year and into next year. So the four advantages that I talked about, we have proper and stable anchoring and sealing. Our short height valve allows us to avoid complications associated with outflow tract obstructions. We actually trap the larger anterior leaflet and the posterior leaflet between the ring and the valve behind something we call the connecting block, so they're immobile. One of the issues that physicians face in these procedures is that the larger anterior leaflet can also create something called systolic anterior motion, and we're able to take that out of the equation. And then we actually, with our ring, remodel the size of the annulus, so we bring it down to 28 or 31 millimeters and effectively improve heart function. We call that reverse remodeling. So this is an image showing the short valve and no issue with outflow tract obstruction. That's what the arrow is showing. And on the right, you see in an animal model that we've captured the native leaflets between the ring and the valve, eliminating the risk of systolic anterior motion. And these are cases from our transapical and transeptal study. So the intercommissural distance, that's really the diameter of the native mitral valve, was 45 millimeters in one case, 45 in another, and 44. We used a 28 millimeter valve. So what you see in those pictures is that we've deployed the valve with the ring and shrunk something that's over 40 millimeters down to 28 with a very effective seal at the top. And what that does over time is it helps the left ventricle to reduce in size, and you start to get a more efficient pump. And we see an improvement in forward stroke volume in our patients. So we have 2-year follow-up on our 5 transapical patients. We did 3+ and 4+ cases. We had no recurrence of MR, which was our primary focus. We saw a reduction in procedure time. And now we've moved into transeptal, and we're seeing similar results there. We're very excited about the momentum that we're building. These are our first 3 transeptal deliveries that you see here. And you notice that the catheter is pulling back. We're able to seat the ring at the base of the left ventricle because of that connection, the interlock connection that I spoke about. No one else is able to do that. So last year we focused on our follow-up on our transapical patients and initiating our transeptal study. This year, our plan with the raise that I talked about, the 17 million, is to build on that and move from our European sites to the US and continue enrollment. And then toward 2026, we're gonna finalize our manufacturing scale up and do the work required to file our pivotal IDE. By the end of 26, we anticipate having 45 to 50 patients in early feasibility and to be in a position to file for a global pivotal study, which will be our on-road for CE mark and ultimately PMA. As I mentioned, we're a global site, very proud of our employees, a lot of skills across the country. We have a great board, diverse board of cardiac surgeons, an interventional cardiologist on our advisory board, our management board, a lot of experience we draw from that. And I want to thank you for your attention and would love to talk to any of you who are interested in learning more. Thank you.